Have you ever thought about how much the foods we eat daily can impact the way our brain works as we age? It's something most of us never really stop to consider. Many seniors in the US, just like you, stick to foods they've loved for decades without realizing that some of these choices could quietly be affecting their memory, focus, and even their overall brain health. These effects don't happen overnight. They build up slowly over time, making it harder to connect the dots between what's on your plate and how you're feeling mentally. Today, we're going to talk about 6 types of foods that could be quietly harming your brain and how to replace them with alternatives that not only taste great, but also fuel your brain for long-term health. Now, before we dive in, I'd love to know, where are you tuning in from? Comment below and share your city. I always enjoy hearing from you. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more tips like these. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. If you've ever experienced moments where you forget names, lose track of what you were doing, or even feel a bit foggy-headed, don't worry, you're not alone. It happens to so many people. Stay with me as I walk you through these 6 food culprits, and I promise you'll come away with practical tips you can start using right away. Point 1. Processed foods, the hidden danger. Let's start with something that's incredibly common: processed foods. They're quick, convenient, and often feel like the easiest option when you're hungry. Maybe it's a bowl of instant oatmeal in the morning, a frozen dinner when you don't feel like cooking, or even those packaged snacks like chips and cookies that are hard to resist. But here's the thing. While these foods may save you time, they can quietly harm your brain over the long run. Processed foods are loaded with hidden sugars, unhealthy fats, and artificial preservatives that create inflammation in your body. Now, why does this matter? Inflammation is like a slow-burning fire inside your brain. It damages the connections between your brain cells, making it harder for them to communicate. Over time, this can lead to memory problems, difficulty focusing, and, in severe cases, an increased risk of dementia. You might not notice it right away, but if you often find yourself struggling to recall things or feeling a little foggy, your diet could be playing a role. Research has shown that people who eat a lot of processed foods are 35% more likely to develop cognitive decline as they age. That's a big number, and one we can't ignore. Take breakfast, for example. Foods like instant oatmeal or prepackaged pastries might seem like innocent choices, but they're often packed with added sugars and artificial ingredients. These spike your blood sugar levels, leading to crashes that leave you feeling tired and unfocused. Over time, this roller coaster effect can quietly damage your brain. The good news is, you don't have to give up convenience entirely. Swapping instant oatmeal for steel-cut oats is a simple but powerful change. Steel-cut oats are minimally processed, free of harmful additives, and provide steady energy for your brain. You can even prepare them overnight with some fresh berries and walnuts for a breakfast that's as delicious as it is brain-friendly. If you love something warm in the morning, try whole grain toast topped with avocado or almond butter. These options are not only filling but also packed with healthy fats that nourish your brain. And for snacks, fresh fruits like apples or a handful of unsalted nuts are fantastic alternatives to chips or cookies. Point 2. Trans fats, the silent brain saboteur. Let's talk about something that might be hiding in foods you've enjoyed for years: trans fats. These fats were once popular because they make foods taste great and last longer on store shelves. But here's the harsh truth. Trans fats are some of the worst things you can put in your body, especially when it comes to your brain health. Foods like prepackaged cookies, crackers, margarine, fried chicken, donuts, and even microwave popcorn often contain trans fats. They're cheap, convenient, and tempting, but they come at a heavy cost. Trans fats increase your levels of bad cholesterol, LDL, while lowering the good cholesterol, HDL, leading to inflammation and clogged blood vessels. When blood flow to the brain is reduced, brain cells are deprived of the oxygen and nutrients they need to stay healthy. Now, think about this. Research shows that trans fats can increase your risk of developing dementia by a shocking 75%. That's not just a statistic, that's a wake-up call. Imagine your brain as a busy highway, and trans fats are like debris that block the lanes, making it harder for signals to move between brain cells. Over time, this damage builds up, affecting your memory, focus, and ability to think clearly. Take Mary's story, for example. She loved her buttery crackers and often used margarine in her cooking because it seemed like a healthier alternative. What she didn't know was that these choices were quietly working against her brain. Once she learned about the dangers of trans fats, she decided to make a change, and the results were incredible. The good news? Avoiding trans fats isn't as hard as it sounds. Start by swapping margarine for healthier options like olive oil or even real butter in moderation. When you're craving snacks, reach for unsalted nuts, air-popped popcorn, or fresh vegetables with hummus instead of prepackaged cookies or crackers. And if you love fried foods, try baking instead. Coating chicken with almond flour and baking it in the oven can give you that same satisfying crunch without the harmful fats. One more tip: always check food labels carefully. Even products labeled as zero trans fats can contain small amounts if they include partially hydrogenated oils in the ingredient list. By becoming a smarter shopper, you can protect your brain from these hidden dangers. Point 3. Sugary beverages, sweet but deadly. Let's move on to something almost everyone enjoys but rarely thinks about: sugary beverages. From sodas and fruit punches to sweetened coffee drinks, these drinks might seem harmless, but they're actually one of the most damaging things you can consume when it comes to your brain health. Here's why sugary drinks are such a big problem. They're packed with sugar that quickly floods your bloodstream. Unlike whole foods, which release sugar slowly thanks to their fiber, these beverages cause sharp spikes and crashes in your blood sugar levels. Over time, this roller coaster effect takes a serious toll on your brain. You see, when your blood sugar levels are constantly spiking, your body starts to develop insulin resistance. Insulin resistance doesn't just harm your body. It also starves your brain cells of the energy they need to function properly. In fact, scientists have started calling Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes because of its strong connection to poor sugar management. Mary, the grandmother we've been talking about, had no idea that her favorite afternoon soda and sweetened coffee drinks were contributing to her brain fog and forgetfulness. It wasn't until she learned how sugary drinks promote inflammation and oxidative stress in the brain, two key factors in dementia, that she decided to make a change. Now, let's talk about solutions. Cutting out sugary beverages doesn't mean giving up on flavor. In fact, there are so many delicious alternatives that are not only healthier but also support your brain health. Instead of soda, try drinking water infused with fresh lemon, cucumber, or mint. It's refreshing, hydrating, and free of added sugars. For coffee lovers, swapping sweetened creamers and syrups for unsweetened almond milk and a sprinkle of cinnamon can completely transform your morning routine. Cinnamon doesn't just add a natural sweetness, it also has anti-inflammatory properties that are good for your brain. And what about fruit punches? Instead of those sugar-filled drinks, you can try making fresh fruit smoothies. Blend strawberries, spinach, and a banana with almond milk or natural yogurt for a drink that's naturally sweet and packed with nutrients. Not only will it taste amazing, but it will also give your brain the steady energy it needs to thrive. Mary made these simple swaps and noticed a huge difference within weeks. Her brain fog lifted, her energy levels were more stable, and she felt sharper throughout the day. It's a powerful reminder that what you drink matters just as much as what you eat. Sugary beverages may feel like a treat, but their impact on your brain can be devastating over time. By choosing healthier options, you're not just quenching your thirst, you're protecting your brain, your memories, and your independence. Point 4. Refined carbs, more harm than good. Now let's talk about something that's a staple in many of our meals: refined carbohydrates. Think white bread, sugary cereals, pasta, muffins, and pastries. These foods might bring a sense of comfort, but they can quietly work against your brain health in ways you might not expect. Refined carbs are made by stripping away the fiber and nutrients from grains, leaving behind just the starchy part. When you eat them, your body breaks them down into sugar very quickly. This rapid release of sugar leads to the same kind of blood sugar spikes and crashes we talked about earlier with sugary beverages. But here's the twist. Refined carbs are often hidden in foods we don't think of as unhealthy, like white toast, bagels, or even pancake mixes. For seniors, this constant sugar roller coaster is especially damaging. Over time, these spikes and crashes promote inflammation in the brain, create oxidative stress, and even contribute to microclots in the tiny blood vessels that supply oxygen to your brain. This can disrupt communication between brain cells, leading to memory problems, difficulty concentrating, and eventually an increased risk of dementia. Take Betty, for example. At 68, She started every morning with white toast and butter, followed by a sugary cereal or a mid-morning pastry. She often felt tired and unfocused by lunchtime, but didn't realize her breakfast choices were to blame. It wasn't until her doctor explained how refined carbs affect brain health that she began to connect the dots. The good news is that making a few simple swaps can make a big difference. Instead of white bread, try whole grain options or sourdough bread, which release sugar more slowly and help stabilize your blood sugar levels. For breakfast, steel-cut oats topped with fresh berries or a handful of nuts can replace sugary cereals, giving your brain the nutrients it needs to start the day strong. If you love pasta, you don't have to give it up completely. Just switch to whole grain pasta or alternatives like quinoa, farro, or even zucchini noodles. These options are not only lower in refined carbs, but also packed with fiber, which helps your body process sugars more effectively. Another tip? Try batch cooking meals with brain-friendly ingredients. For example, roasted sweet potatoes or brown rice stir-fried with vegetables are excellent alternatives to refined carb-heavy dishes. Having these ready in your fridge makes it easier to avoid the temptation of less healthy options. Betty embraced these changes and noticed a significant improvement in her energy and focus within weeks. She found herself feeling sharper and more alert throughout the day, all because she chose to swap refined carbs for healthier alternatives. Point 5. Artificial sweeteners, a false sense of security. Now let's talk about artificial sweeteners. Many people turn to these as a way to cut back on sugar, thinking they're making a healthier choice. After all, they're marketed as diet-friendly and sugar-free, so they must be good for you, right? Unfortunately, that's far from the truth, especially when it comes to your brain health. Artificial sweeteners, like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin, may have 0 calories, but they can wreak havoc on your body in ways that aren't immediately obvious. The main issue lies in what they do to your gut, which is often called your second brain. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria that play a critical role in reducing inflammation, regulating mood, and supporting overall brain health. When artificial sweeteners disrupt this delicate balance, they trigger inflammation that doesn't just stay in your gut. It travels to your brain. Chronic inflammation caused by artificial sweeteners can increase the risk of cognitive decline, memory issues, and even dementia. Studies have shown that regular consumption of these sweeteners is linked to poorer cognitive performance, particularly in older adults. And here's the kicker. Even small amounts can have an impact over time. Take Mary, for example. She had already cut down on sugary drinks and snacks, but she replaced them with diet sodas and sugar-free desserts, thinking she was making the right choice. What she didn't realize was that these guilt-free options were still putting her brain at risk. She often felt irritable, unfocused, and forgetful, but it wasn't until she learned about the effects of artificial sweeteners that she decided to make a change. The good news is that you don't have to sacrifice flavor or sweetness to protect your brain. There are plenty of natural alternatives that are just as satisfying. For example, instead of diet sodas, try herbal teas or sparkling water infused with fresh fruit or a squeeze of lemon. They're refreshing, flavorful, and free of harmful chemicals. For desserts, fresh fruits like ripe peaches, berries, or even a small drizzle of honey on plain yogurt can satisfy your sweet tooth naturally. Cinnamon is another excellent option. It not only adds a warm, sweet flavor, but also has anti-inflammatory properties that are beneficial for brain health. Mary embraced these swaps and found that her energy levels improved, her focus sharpened, and her mood became more stable. She also noticed that her cravings for overly sweet foods started to fade, making it easier to stick to her healthier choices. Artificial sweeteners may promise a guilt-free indulgence, but the hidden risks simply aren't worth it. By choosing natural, nutrient-rich alternatives, you're not just avoiding harm. You're actively nourishing your brain and setting yourself up for long-term mental clarity and health. Point 6. Excess salt, a recipe for trouble. Finally, let's talk about something that's probably a regular part of your diet, but often goes unnoticed. Salt. While a little bit of salt is necessary for your body, too much can have serious consequences, not just for your heart, but also for your brain. And here's the tricky part. Most of the excess salt in our diets doesn't come from the salt shaker. It's hidden in packaged and processed foods. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at managing sodium, which can lead to high blood pressure. High blood pressure doesn't just strain your heart, it also damages the delicate blood vessels in your brain. Over time, This reduced blood flow can impair brain function, making it harder to think clearly, remember things, or stay focused. Chronic high blood pressure caused by too much salt is strongly linked to vascular dementia, a condition where reduced blood flow causes cognitive decline. Mary, who had already made great strides in improving her diet, hadn't considered how much salt was sneaking into her meals. Her pantry was full of foods like canned soups, pre-seasoned frozen meals, and salty snacks like chips and pretzels. These foods seemed convenient and comforting, but their high sodium content was quietly taking a toll on her health. Once Mary understood the risks, she made some simple changes that had a big impact. She started by swapping out canned soups for homemade versions. Instead of relying on salt for flavor, she experimented with fresh herbs like basil, rosemary, and thyme, as well as spices like garlic and paprika. One of her favorite recipes became a hearty vegetable soup with fresh carrots, celery, tomatoes, and a pinch of garlic. Not only low in sodium but also packed with brain-friendly nutrients. Mary also learned to read food labels carefully. She discovered that even products labeled as low sodium could still contain a significant amount of salt. By choosing fresh or frozen vegetables instead of canned ones and avoiding pre-seasoned meals, she reduced her sodium intake without sacrificing flavor. For snacks, Mary swapped chips and pretzels for air-popped popcorn seasoned with nutritional yeast or paprika. She also found that fresh fruits and vegetables, paired with hummus or guacamole, were just as satisfying and far better for her brain. Within weeks of cutting back on salt, Mary noticed significant changes. Her blood pressure stabilized, she felt less sluggish, and her mind felt sharper and more focused. These small adjustments not only improved her brain health, but also made her feel more energetic and in control of her overall well-being. For seniors, reducing salt is a simple but powerful way to protect your brain and your future. By choosing fresh, whole foods and seasoning your meals with herbs and spices instead of salt, you can enjoy delicious meals while safeguarding your cognitive health. Now that we've explored the 6 foods that can quietly harm your brain, processed foods, trans fats, sugary beverages, refined carbs, artificial sweeteners, and excess salt, it's time to reflect on what this means for you and your future. The choices you make every day about what you eat and drink have a profound impact on your brain health. It's not just about avoiding the bad stuff. It's about nourishing your brain with the right foods that keep you sharp, focused, and full of energy. Thank you for taking the time to learn about this with me. Your brain will thank you for the care and attention you're giving it now. Stay healthy, stay curious, and here's to a brighter, sharper future for all of us. And don't forget to share this video with a friend or family member who might need to hear this. It could change their life too. Take care, and I'll see you next time.